I'm going to give you the facts again. So, including and since the 2019 general election, guess how many voter fraud convictions and cautions there have been? Have a little guess in your head. What, you think, like 200, 300, 1,000, 30? There have been six in total. Of all of the elections, the local elections, that massive general election, there have been 6. Do you know that there have been more Conservative members of Parliament who have been booted out of Parliament in that same amount of time for reasons like sexual misconduct and so on, than there have been cases of voter fraud? That's interesting. So I did a little, I love my numbers, I did a little multiplication. So let's say that was 6 or 7 of those Conservative members of Parliament. One of them, we won't go into the names and so on because we'd be here all day, wouldn't we? But that's out of around about 360 of them. Okay, so imagine that. You can do your percentage, you can do your fractions. Now multiply that out by the 50 million adults who could vote. And to equivalence it, if you multiply it up, so in terms of voter fraud, there would have to have been just under 1 million convictions of voter fraud in order to have that equivalence with the number of Tory MPs who've been suspended for sexual misconduct and other things. But there haven't been. So we don't need voter ID, thank you very much. I think it would be far better, don't you, if we had some kind of way of trawling through who their candidates were, so we didn't have these instances of sexual misconduct and all sorts of other horrors which we've had to put up with over the last 5 years.
Are you in the right job?
I'm absolutely in the right job, Bob. Yeah.
No, sorry. I've been trying to talk, but I guess I've been muted for about 2 minutes while you kept on talking.
Yeah, over to you, Bob.
It was so long ago. Did you hear anything I said for the last 2 minutes while you were speaking?
Well, I was speaking. It's called conversation.
No, well, it wasn't a conversation because I raised an issue, and
you said
I basically then got muted. So everything I've now just said was me just talking to myself. I thought this was a phone-in program.
Well, off you go, Bob.
Okay, so it was so long ago. As I said, I don't see why you're so hot under the collar about making an election system, which a lot of places in the world try to make safe by having photo ID. And there is a lot of underlying... You keep on talking about there's 6 people have been convicted. How many people have not been convicted? With the postal voting system, I think most people are fairly sensible and realise that at the moment with postal voting, it's too easy to cast a vote fraudulently. But you seem to just ignore that as a fact. And you're just sort of saying, look at the facts. There's only 6 people been arrested. Well, look at the facts.
No, they weren't arrested. No, there were 2 have been cautioned and 4 were convicted in that time. And Bob, it sounds to me like you're more about whataboutery than evidence.
Oh, here we go. Right, and no, what do you mean whataboutery? No, it's not
it's exactly what you said. What about? That's called whataboutery when you have no evidence.
That's just a cop-out way of having a conversation to shut down a conversation. So very well done. You've just done what a lot of people do now, and you try and shut down a conversation without having an intelligent conversation.
Well, it isn't intelligent when you say, you've just said, Bob, and you complained that I've put evidence forward. I have put evidence from the website, from the Electoral Commission forward, and you've said, what about all the people who are doing voter fraud? But you've no evidence.
How many times are you going to say that?
Because it's the truth, Bob.
Oh,
that's called fact.
Mock laughing. It's hilarious. You don't know how much fraud is going on.
And neither do you, Bob. That's the point.
100%. I agree with that. 100%.
So I look at evidence.
What evidence have you got about how much fraud is going on? Oh, gosh,
I don't have to say it again, do I? Look at the Electoral Commission website. There you will see that there are more cases reported of candidates acting fraudulently than there are voters.
That is people that have been caught. Why in other countries? You could push your mute button like you did for me.
Well,
for
I'm
going to
have to go to the news, Bob. I'm going to have to go to the news. And I suggest that for your homework, before you ring me back at some other point, that you go and read the Electoral Commission website, because it's absolutely fascinating.